Graham Gartland here at the Hellfire Club. Welcome to Clear the Head. Each week we'll be talking to a member of Shamrock Rovers Football Club, going for a walk through their life and their journey. What was the decision to then say, do you know what, I'm going to join the army?
I always wanted to be a footballer, obviously, but I was getting to that age where I was like, this is probably never going to happen here. You could say the less quality players are always the hardest working. No, not true. 2019, after the Cup, I obviously went over to just Hull City and had a few days trials there. Sam Bennett and Sean Kelly were going on that spin, so I said, look, I'll go for the crack, like, you know. Joey's obviously moved on now, but you do see a lot of people saying, oh, they'll miss Joey and all this kind of stuff. Obviously you will, but there's a lot of leaders within that group that people don't even know about.
Great to have you, Lee. Thanks for coming.
No matter, good to be here, guys.
Thank you. You probably had an unusual background in starting in football, coming out of Tip. What would be in your schoolboy teams and how would you have come through them?
I started off with Carrick United, my local club. Good club there. Won a lot down through the years. I won a few medals with myself. They won the FAI in the 2008, I think it was. FAI Junior Cup. Right. Who'd they beat in the final? Beat someone in...
Probably out of way.
I was at it alright as a fan, yeah. Face painted, all the works. Yeah, so I was at Carrick United. I never made any of the schoolboy teams as I was growing up. I was always told I was too small.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Always go for the trials. Just always told too small, whatever. So I never made any of the teams.
Were you always a centre back then?
I was actually a midfielder.
Yeah.
I was kind of jumping between centre mid and centre back. Some managers would put me at the back, some would put me in midfield. Right. But I think I was always going to end up centre half because I don't think I see the game as well as other midfielders, you know.
360 view.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd rather have the game in front of me.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Did you like defending even back then?
I did. I always liked it, to be fair. Just because I was better at it than I was anything else, to be honest. That's it. Yeah.
I understand that.
So yeah, Carrick United. I played with them all the way up until I was 21. Then I went to the army. Kind of had to take it.
All the way to 21, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I made one Waterford team. It was like a district team. So all the best players from the Waterford League made this team. Underage, it was under 18s, I think it was. So that was the first ever team I made, you could say.
And all the way up to 21, and then what made you decide, or did you have any inklings that you want to be a full-time footballer, and then what was the decision to then say, do you know what, I'm going to join the army?
Like, to be honest,
was it a tough decision?
At the time, no, because I always wanted to be a footballer, obviously, but I was getting to that age where I was like, this is probably never going to happen here.
Okay.
And obviously the army then, a few of my mates had gotten into the army, they were telling me all about it and telling me there's a lot of fitness in it, there's a lot of outdoors, which I like, so I wanted to do that, and that didn't go to plan either because it took me 2 or 3 attempts to get into that as well. I think
you were too small for that,
No, they didn't. I was after growing. I started growing around 16, so it took me 3 attempts to get into that. I did 3 interviews, 3 fitness tests. I eventually got in, and to be fair, I loved it. Was tough when I got into it, but yeah.
Was it tough for you to maybe step away from being a footballer? Was that bit? Because walking away from something that you think that's where I was focused on for probably from the age of 8 to go, I have to move lanes here. Was that tough?
It was tough. Now I didn't completely stop playing. When you first get into the army, you're based in a barracks. I was based in Limerick, and for the first 9 to 12 months, you kind of have to live in barracks. You're training all week. You get the odd weekend off, and on the weekends off, obviously I was going home and playing matches.
Right.
Probably wasn't the best idea because if I got injured, it would have killed my army.
Yeah.
But so I never actually stopped playing, but obviously had to take a step back from it while I was up in Limerick. But yeah, it was tough, obviously, making that decision to go to the army, and you're thinking, right, that's the football done. You're just going to be playing junior for whatever for the rest of your life, with no disrespect to the lads playing junior, because there is some good players still playing junior. But yeah, that's just it was tough at the time, but to be honest I wasn't really thinking about it. I was so stuck into the army. You're getting dogged for 6 months, you can't think about that now. So yeah, at the time it was just all army, and then on the weekends, as I said, played a few games here and there.
Was there any tough times in the army?
Geez, there was, yeah. Tough slog, like first 9 months, as I said, like so tough. You're constantly outdoors, weather like this, absolutely freezing, and you're sleeping in it. Right. So it's not easy. There was a lot of mental strength. You would, yeah, definitely. There was like.
I think that stands to you now with football, with the highs and lows.
I think so, yeah, because there was.
It seemed so level.
Yeah, there was some. Yeah, there were some tough times in the army. Now, like coming home, the odd weekend we got off, you're just so glad to be home, and then Sunday evening, you're nearly depressed going back, you know. Yeah. So you have to have something to talk to, and obviously my family, and I was with my girlfriend at the time. She was telling me, look, you'll get through the hard times and it'll be all worth it. Yeah. And look, it was in the end. I got through the training, whatever, and became a soldier, as they say, and it wasn't as tough then. Once you're done your first 12 months, it wasn't as tough. So no, look, it was all worth it.
Brilliant. And how did you transition then to becoming? You went to Wexford, did you?
That's a funny one as well. I was obviously I was in the army. They have an all-army team, it's called. Right. So all the best players from all the barracks in Ireland go on to a team. Obviously, if you're good enough, they had trials and all that kind of stuff, and they have a few games, and they pick the best lads from them games. So I got picked for that in 2000 and I want to say 14. Yeah, 2014. I got picked for that. There was a couple of lads on that team that played at Wexford at the time. Right. I think it was Craig Wall is his name. He used to play at Wexford. I don't think he plays anymore, but he was he had said it to Shane Keegan just to come and have a look at me.
Oh, right.
So how did it come about? Where was I? I think we were playing Tramore, Carrick United, the junior club I was with. We were playing Tramore away. I was actually in midfield the day Shane came and watched me. I ended up scoring that day. I think it's the last goal I scored at my feet, to be honest. Haven't scored with my feet since.
Little legs.
Yeah, little legs Lee, yeah. So Shane was at that game, I remember. And after the game, I knew he was going to be there, so I was a bit nervous obviously, but after the game we went and had a chat, and yeah, the rest is history, as they say.
And how long were you then with Wexford?
From 2015 was my first year, to 2017 I'm going to say, because then I went to Galway, because my first season at Wexford we won the league.
That's right.
And then unfortunately the second season we got relegated, and then Shane obviously got his job at Galway and brought me with him.
I remember going to watch the play and talking to Shane. Shane Robinson would have thought highly of you and said to me, have a look, and we had a look, and then you moved to Galway, and then obviously Stephen had said, would I throw an eye on you as a centre back? Right. While I was at the club, and unbeknownst to me, I think he probably had you signed and done by the stage. Was that a big thrill to you then, going to Galway? But then how did the move to Shamrock Rovers come about?
Yeah, look, obviously going to Galway was brilliant. It was my first time in full-time football.
Was it full-time at Galway?
Yeah, that was full-time, so I had to make that decision of leaving the army at the time.
All right.
Yeah, so that came about then.
And how did you juggle training, even with Wexford and the army? How did that work?
that wasn't great either. Obviously, Wexford, we trained one night down in Ferry Carrick, where the pitch is. Yeah. I think we trained there on I want to say a Wednesday, and on the Monday, obviously Wexford wasn't full time. Yeah. On the Monday we trained in Carlow IT. They had a full size Astro, great facilities. So we trained there on a Monday. So I'd work for the first year. I was in Limerick a year and a half in the army. So I'd have to be I'd travel to Limerick in the morning, do my day's work in the army, travel all the way back down to Carlow, train, and then travel home. Oh, right. So it was a fair bit of travelling. And at the very start I didn't actually drive, so my poor father had to do a fair bit of driving. But
you owe a lot to him then?
I owe a lot to my father, to be fair. He brought me here, there and everywhere. And,
would he be the one you turn to for advice in terms of football or decisions, or life decisions even?
Yeah, definitely. Even as I said, when I was growing up, I never made any of the teams. I remember the year the Kennedy Cup. I never made that team either. Yeah, alright. Yeah, that year I got the call. I obviously went to the trials. I thought I did well. And one of my best mates, Bill Welch is his name. He's living in England now. Still my best mate now. One of my best mates now. We went to the trials together. Two of us did well, so I thought, no, we're in with the right chance here. Yeah. So I think it was 2 or 3 days later I got the phone call, but I didn't. My father got the phone call, and he brought me out to the kitchen and said, "Lee, it's not good news." So I burst into tears, and obviously he hugged me and said, "Look, you're grand, your time will come." So yeah, you could say my father's the one I turned to, especially down through the younger years, you know.
But I always feel that resilience and them disappointments are what makes you appreciate the good times, but gives you that resilience to get through the tough times. Are going, you know what? Like, as long as I keep going here, something will come. But
I agree. Yeah.
It's
almost like, I think it's almost like you're proving them people wrong that didn't rate you back then, you know. So
but that's what motivates people sometimes. I had that for a little while, and then it was like, right, well, you need to do it for yourself as well. But I understand where, as I say to the kids now, hard work doesn't owe you anything. But without it, you probably don't have much of a chance.
Yeah. Like so, I think my father said it to me years ago now. You're not always going to be the most talented in the room, but just make sure there's no one outworking you. Yeah. So hard work beats talent. Yeah. You know, and that always stuck with me. Obviously, I'm not the most talented in any group I've ever been in, but I was making sure the lad beside me is not working harder than me. So, you know.
We spoke about that probably off. Centre backs, obviously you peak got on before and yourselves. You can't have an off day. You have to be on it all the time. You have to train really well. You have to commit to everything really as a centre back, knowing that you're the one driving the team. There's a great thing of you've artists and you've soldiers, and where I go, the soldiers are the ones that drive the team, and the artists are the ones that add that little bit of
flair.
Yeah, bit of the soldiers are the ones that carry the load a little bit.
Yeah, no, you know? I'd have to agree with that. Obviously, as I said, it wouldn't be the most talented in the group, but you have to drive on with how you train and set an example of how you train. Yeah. And I think centre halves are definitely in that bracket where. And
that's where you can demand off the skillful players. Yeah. That's what I always found. Yeah. Look how hard I'm working, so now I'm going to ask you to produce something.
Or, exactly. Or work hard as well.
The mutual respect you get from the good players are respecting the hard works, and that's what makes a team work. Yeah,
I'd agree. Like, to be fair, anywhere I've been, it's usually the centre halves or you could say the less quality players are always the hardest working. No, not you. I'm on about myself. No, but I mean they're always hard working because they know they have to work that bit extra, you know. Like, some people are obviously born with talent, and they don't have to work as hard. I'm not saying they don't work as hard, but they don't have to work as hard as the fellas that don't. So that's why I see that a lot, that the hard working lads are not blessed with fucking the God-given talent that other players are, you know.
Yeah. And then coming to Rovers, then the move to Rovers, that must have been something that you thought how quick it happened, or within, like you said, within 3 years, 6 months of being full time, 3 years of being in the league, you've gone to Rovers.
Yeah. Obviously, we played Rovers in Rovers. They beat us 2-0. I thought I had a good game, so I never knew Rovers were looking at me at the time. I didn't have any clue, to be honest with you. Even that day, I just played my game, thought I did well. Then a few days later, it just came about. Who got on to me? Can't remember. Did I have an agent back then? I don't think I did.
You only come when you start being successful.
But I don't know who rang me and told me, said, "Look, Lee, Rovers have to put in an offer." Yeah. I remember sitting in the house that I was living in up in Galway at the time. I was living with a few players. I was sitting in the room. The other boys were downstairs. I didn't obviously get on tell them, but I just couldn't believe it. Yeah. As you said, it happened so fast. 6 months is all I was with Galway. Yeah. And at the time, we were struggling with Galway. Now we were playing well. We couldn't turn out results. We just kept conceding goals here and there, and
No, it's not a good sign, is it? You're doing well to get moved considering that.
Well, that's what I'm not saying I'm not saying I didn't want 2 relegations on my CV or anything like that. But when I left, I obviously went ahead and got relegated, and that was tough to do because you don't want to look like you're jumping off a sinking ship, as they say. So that was it. Obviously, I was always going to sign for Rovers, but it was a tough decision at the time because, as I said, you don't want to look like you're jumping off the sinking ship. And I was, funnily enough, when I did sign for Rovers, I was still looking at the Galway results, hoping they'd just, hold on for another year anyway, and so people won't be looking at me saying, "Oh, this sort of jumped it."
That's that care that we spoke about, that players bring, that you get attached to a club.
That's what I mean. It was hard, like so. But look, as I said, I was always going to sign for Rovers, biggest club in Ireland. When they come calling, it's hard to turn away.
Yeah. Your life at Rovers now would have been, obviously when you signed, the evolution of the team has been really, really good, but it hasn't been done overnight. It's been built by the club.
Yeah.
And how has that been for you? How have you been? Because you've been one of the ones that has gone through all that process.
Yeah, I think when I signed, looking at it now,
we were just gone into Roadstone, hadn't we?
Yeah. Literally just gone in.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that was the first year. I'm trying to think now which players are left since I signed. I think Pico, Finnar, and Graham. I think was Graham there when I signed? I'm not too sure. Graham, I think
came after you.
But I think he was there before me and left, did he? And then came back. No. I'm getting my timings wrong. So there's not too many still left. So as you said, it did take time for the gaffer to put a stamp on things. Look, thankfully in 2019 we won the FAI and it obviously worked, but as you said, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just flick a switch and it all turns.
It reminds me of the other one. I've worked all my life to be an overnight success.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You see it with the group that it took so long, but that's why it's staying around. You know what I mean? It's
exactly. Yeah.
So, and how your teammates then? Who would you be close to at the club that you'd spend time with, that you basically confide in, or?
I look, because we're all a close group, to be fair, but it always works out that whoever we're living with in the club gaff, you become close to.
Yeah.
Myself and Rory now have become close over the last few years because obviously Rory's in the house as well.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think I get on with everyone.
Yeah.
I'd like to think people have nice things to say about me when I walk out of the room. But look, I don't know, you're going to have to ask them that off camera.
You obviously the change of formation then, just something like playing left-sided centre-back, I think you've really taken to that. There was a little spell, probably 2 years ago, where you maybe flirted with the idea of going to the UK. You were doing really well. Didn't happen for whatever reason. Are you happy with that decision? Because when I speak to you, I think you seem really content about it. I know Jordan, if I had an itch where I wanted to scratch, that I felt I wanted to go and prove something. Was there something that you felt that as well? Or?
Yeah, look, obviously when you're growing up, everyone wants to go over to England because that's, you're watching the Premier League, aren't you? So everyone wants to go over and test the water. But in 2019, after the Cup, I obviously went over to Hull City and had a few days trials there. Actually, my girlfriend Emma won't be too happy, but the time I went over for the trials, we had a holiday booked to Thailand. And obviously when I got that call that they wanted me over for a few days, I couldn't say no. So myself and Emma and my two friends, or my friend and his girlfriend, were going to Thailand for 2 or 3 weeks. So we had that booked, and she had to travel with them on her own. I missed the first 3 days of the holiday. That's what she said, yeah, never again. But yeah, look, I went over, I enjoyed the 3 days just to see what the standard was like, and to be fair, there was only small differences in it. There's not a hell of a whole lot, you know what I mean? So
I even going back over as a coach, I went over as a coach and we trained on 2 different pitches. Like we got changed out of the stadium and went, and I remember saying to the chief exec, like, I've got better facilities in Ireland.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like you said, you had a look and you went, you know what, I'm actually going to go and go back to Rovers.
Exactly, like the Hull at the time, I think they're still in the same place now, they're there with years, but like the facilities were nice, but they were, they're on par with Roadstone, if not better than Roadstone, especially now with the gym we're after getting and the indoor facilities. Like, I'm telling you, it's not that big of a difference. But as I said, yeah, I had 3 days over there. Didn't sign, came back and signed a 3-year deal with Rovers, and obviously that's worked out. We're after winning 2 leagues since. And
yeah, I always say this because when we all came into Rovers back in 2014, you see where it is now. I always sort of remind of where this started to where it is, and you've gone through that where you're going, look at the gym now to where you went before.
Exactly, yeah.
And do you remind the new players that, look, this has been built off the whole club now, not the first team, not the academy, the whole club is
everything.
This,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. When I first actually signed, the grass pitch hadn't even been done up in Roadstone, so that's when it was. So we're on the Astro, but yeah, you have to tell the new lads, even the younger lads that are coming and training with us, that this just didn't happen out of nothing. It wasn't like this a few years ago, Now when I did sign, it was obviously good facilities, but just gone from stride to stride now over the last few years. And you become home, becomes comfortable, you're in it, then you know everybody, it becomes that real comfort. Yeah, exactly. It's like home. Yeah, I did. It was actually
natives,
wasn't during the proper lockdowns. I did a hell of a lot of walking with the girlfriend, and as everyone walked their legs off themselves. But no, I went cycling just over the Christmas. Went off with my uncle. My uncle is a big cyclist, and they go off in this crew every Sunday morning. But that Sunday, it was just before Christmas, and it was Sam Bennett and Sean Kelly were going on that spin, so I said, look, I'll go for the crack,
For the crack?
I hadn't cycled in about 7 years, I'd say, but I had a bike, so I said, look, go on, I'll go.
Bike.
No, it was everyone else was on a road bike, so I was on a mountain bike. But I said, go on, look, I'll go, sure. The uncle was on to me, he said, look, it'd be great to have the 3 there,
Yeah.
So I went anyway, and never again. I'm still recovering.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez. We did. I think they did 90 kilometres, 90k. I did 70, and that was no more. They just left me behind.
Right.
We start. They always, as they're coming back into Carrick, do a little sprint.
Right.
And my uncle said Sam was gone.
Was he?
Yeah, he said it was a joke.
It's like, see, I always say this, football's so heavily sort of, you see everybody has an opinion on.
Yeah.
And I always laugh that I go, you can miss something by a fraction or be half a second off, and people, because everybody played it and everybody knows, but
yeah.
Well, at the top of my game in my sport in this country.
Yeah.
But yeah, people go, wouldn't give out about a cyclist losing a sprint, but they give out about you missing a header.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But like, I was looking at Sam that day, like, everyone else around him in bits, and he was just as if he was out for just an old spin in the legs. You know what I mean? Yeah, they dropped me after 70 kilometres. We started with a group of 50, and they said, look, whoever we drop, we'll see you back in Carrick.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
So after 70 kilometres, I got on my phone and rang my father, so I come out and collect me here quick because I'm done. I stopped at a shop for a coffee, and that was it.
Stop with something more stronger.
Stop. Good crack though, good crack.
You mentioned your girlfriend a lot, and so she's back in Tip, is she?
Yeah, she's Carrick and Shore Tipperary, yeah. I'm with her now. Jeez. We're together, I think 9 years this September coming, so long time. We just got a house as well.
Brilliant.
Just like Pico, actually, same broker.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know.
And was it as difficult as Pico found it?
Yeah. We all had troubles with it, you know.
Yeah. It's the football thing, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Like it's almost like you're punished.
Yeah.
Same with car insurance.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. It's like you're punished for being a footballer.
Sportsman, yeah.
Yeah. But
they look and go, you're only contracted up to that.
That's it. They look at the longevity of the contracts. Like, now look, I can get where they're coming from, but like anyone in a factory now these days are on 6 months, a year contracts, so I don't get the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's an everyday problem that people think doesn't relate to people who play football.
Yeah.
You think, God, they're grand, they just probably bought the house cash or something.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we're not in the Premier League.
No,
like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, we got a house where actually we only moved into it last week. We got it just around Christmas. And we moved in last week. We had our first few nights here, so it's great. great to have your own place. Yeah.
What does your wife do? I got girlfriend, sorry. Just laying a mark.
Yeah, just something to see.
Yeah.
Emma's she's a manager in the creche.
Oh, brilliant.
And funny enough, the creche is about from here to that tree away from the house.
Oh, right, that's where you got it.
Yeah, she's manager in her creche now the last few years. She's trying to come back and do the masters and all that crack, but we'll see what the future holds. Yeah.
And did you have to do much work around the house yourself?
To be fair, we could have walked straight in, but we wanted to put our own stamp on it, so we got the tiles and the kitchen and the works. I didn't do it. I got lads in to do it.
Did you have the army crew?
I swept the floor alright when they were gone.
Moving on, like obviously your transition from the army then to football, and is it similar routines? Is it something that you think the army routine helped you as a football routine? The repetitiveness of it, you get up, you eat a certain time, you go, that's that. I always, when I stopped, I struggled because I didn't have my routine. I had nothing at the end of the week to go, well, what am I doing this for? Yeah,
no, that makes sense. No, definitely, a lot of people ask me to ever take anything with me from the army. And I like to think I took structure and punctuality and a few other things. But people think a lot of people think I'm very, I'm OCD, especially my girlfriend. She thinks I have OCD because I'm always everything has to be perfect, and I like an old structure, as you said. I like to have a plan. So about Tuesday or Wednesday I could say to Emma, you know, what are we going to do on the weekend? And she'd be like, no, like, oh, I like structure. So I think I took that from the army, to be fair. But yeah, no, I enjoyed my time in the army, and obviously.
Would you stay in touch with a lot of the lads you were in barracks with? And
yeah, I'm still fairly close with a few of them. Two of my mates one of my mates that I grew up with, two of my mates I grew up with were in the army with me at the same time. We all got in at the same time.
All right.
So
that must have been a help, was it?
Ah, definitely. As I said, the first 12 months, obviously torture. And I had the two boys there to, you know, whenever the times got tough, and we kept each other in it. So that was definitely
that band of brothers thing.
Exactly.
I think, when you can relate to somebody going through something, you tend to go, listen, this was me last week. I was ready to go last week.
Yeah, exactly. We kept
me through it. I'll help you this week.
Yeah, we kept each other in it, because there was times there where we all said, look, this is not for us, like, you know. You know, sitting in under a tree in a lashing rain, you're freezing.
Bit flash.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you need them lads to get you through it, and obviously you make friends within the army as well. I'm still fairly close with a few of the lads that were in the army, because when you're going through hard times, it brings you closer.
And would you bring that then into your team environment, that if you see someone struggling, or you see even young players coming through?
You know, I can be a bit vocal at times and obviously talk to lads, but going back to what you said, like, obviously if there's lads going through a tough time within the squad, say they're after having a bad few games, which everyone does, you might put your arm around them and say, look, you know, just get back to the basics, get back to what you're good at, and your time will come again. And hopefully that's what they need to hear, because as I said, everyone has bad games and you go through tough times, and I'm hoping then the next time I have a few bad games, someone puts their arm around me and does the same thing. Thanks. I'm not having a few bad ones, are we? There's only 4 games in.
Not coming. But it's like, I always feel that, like, obviously a manager, if a manager's doing it, you can sometimes go, you can sort of give it the whole, I mean, you're just saying that, but I think when it comes from
someone within the group,
and that's not to dismiss managers' involvement of it, but like, that's just that when it comes from a fellow player and a peer, it can sometimes mean more. It can mean he backs me, and he knows what I'm good at, and he's helping me here.
Exactly, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. When the manager is saying it, obviously you're taking it on board, but when it comes from someone that's playing beside you the last few years.
But I also think that's what Stephen's instilled, that he's given you that's good management, and that he's given you that freedom to go help each other.
Yeah, to be fair, he says it a lot, that the dressing room we drive it from the dressing room. He does say that a lot, to be fair, but when he has to say something, he'll come in and he'll say it, you know. But no, there's a lot of leaders in our group, and when there's stuff needs to be said, it will be said, and someone needs to be pulled. Obviously Joey was brilliant at it. Joey's obviously moved on now, but you do see a lot of people saying, oh, they'll miss Joey and all this kind of stuff. Obviously you will, but there's a lot of leaders within that group that people don't even know about, you get me?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even hear about, so, but no, I think you need that, especially when it's coming from someone you're playing with rather than someone as a coaching staff or something like that.
Yeah. We mentioned obviously you started lockdown and without the fans, and how was it when you got, like you talked about your own structure, how was it when that structure went for you, and what did you do to fill it?
During the COVID, is it?
Yeah. Like obviously when football stopped.
Yeah.
Then, like, so it's probably a double question in that. How was it? How did you find it? And then what did you do to fill that void of not having your routine?
The first, I think there was 2 lockdowns, was there?
Yeah. You're through the 2020 season when you started the season. And
when the season just stopped.
Yeah.
I think Dundalk was our last game, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was,
yeah, the first time I ended up staying over in the in Emma's house, in the girlfriend's house, because at the time her mother was a nurse. She's a nurse in a hospital, so I didn't want to be mingling over there and coming home to my own mother, who, you know, I didn't want my own mother getting it, so I just made the decision to stay in Emma's. And
did Emma's mother find it tough with as a nurse?
She did, yeah. Like, she thought going to work and coming back, she'd put everyone at risk, you know. She kind of felt a bit guilt and all that kind of stuff. And then it so happened she actually did bring it back, because we all ended up getting it.
Right.
But none of us were too sick with it. We were all fine with it. But yeah, just to pass the time, she had a lot of sisters as well. Emma's 3 sisters, so we were playing board games and going off for walks. And sure, at the time you weren't left mingled with anyone, you were afraid to even see your friends. So we didn't know really how bad it was, so we were kind of just staying within our bubble. But yeah, I suppose we were just playing board games, walks, trying to stay fit. Emma's into her fitness as well, so we were doing kind of YouTube videos of fitness stuff and all that kind of stuff. Mad stuff like that.
Emma's going to have her own channel. I'll interview her now.
But yeah, just passing the days. The days are pretty much the same every day. You get up and do a bit of fitness work, then off for walks, and yeah, I suppose there's not much you could have done really, was there, at the time.
And did you miss the fans then because I coming back and even watching the games, I was like difficult, and then you get the draw where you get AC Milan and there's no crowd there.
Yeah, it was. That one hurts now, to be fair. Even my family, they go to a lot of the games, and that one hurt them, obviously. But no, yeah, the fans obviously are a massive part. In saying that, the first game obviously was weird, but then you're so concentrating on the games, you nearly forget that they're not even there. But then, let's say you're in a game and there's 10 minutes left and you need to be drove on a bit. That's when you need the fans. And to be fair, they're always there in their numbers behind us. So yeah, we missed them, like. But look, there was obviously bigger things going on at the time. There was people losing their lives and stuff, so
to put it in perspective.
Exactly, yeah, we were just happy to be still able to play, you know.
Yeah, because a lot of people probably weren't able to go and do their job, even though you might think, well, probably were happy, or you wanted to do yours, because football's so enjoyable and so...
Exactly, we were privileged to be able to play, but there was people losing their lives all around the place. So no, at the time obviously we missed the fans, but yeah, as you said, you put it into perspective, people losing their lives, so we were just happy to be able to play football.
And then welcome them back then, them coming back in, that must have been, like, obviously I couldn't tell you how it felt even just going to watch a live game, so it didn't, to have it not there and then for it to come back, it must have felt...
That was brilliant. You get goosebumps, you know, walking out of the tunnel. Now I get goosebumps most of the time walking out, because when you hear the fans, like, it just gives you that tingle. But for that first time, it was brilliant. I can't actually... Our first game at home with the fans was...
You're looking at me here.
Yeah, I'm hoping you were...
On it, but I'm not sure.
My mind's gone blank, but I remember walking out the tunnel and just getting goosebumps, and you're thinking, you know, this is why you play, like. This is why you play. And I remember a few people said that as we were walking out, like, just to welcome them back, make sure we put on a show, and I'm pretty sure we did win that first game we were back, and I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure we won. I know it was great to have the fans back, and let's hope they don't have to miss any more games.
Yeah, true. We're up here now, we've got the top at the Hellfire Club. Probably haven't been up here before, have
No,
you?
I haven't actually.
Yeah.
I got the text earlier to say this is where it was, and I was like,
Yeah.
I have no clue where this is.
It was one of the,
lovely
yeah,
spot.
it's a great view.
Yeah, great view,
You
yeah.
can see the whole of Dublin. Palace Stadium is over that direction. You can see it, there's the basketball arena, and then there it is down there.
I think I see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, spotted.
And then the old mill town will be around there, down by the railway bridge and done.
To be fair, there's a big old distance in between where it used to be and where it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is like you're going from Milltown obviously up, but now that it's home and that's where, like you said, you look how big Tallaght is. It's massive. Like,
Massive.
you know,
Yeah.
so important. Listen, I can't thank you enough for coming up. It's been a real
Yeah,
pleasure.
my pleasure,
I
yeah.
know I knew you before, but getting to know you even more has been an absolute privilege, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got out to clear your head.
Yeah, no, it was
and
great.
help.
Get out and clear the head, as you said, yeah. And the head is clear now, so no, it was my pleasure.
All right,
Thanks,
bud.
thanks, cheers.
All
Thanks
the
very
best.
much.